All right, hello everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by, tuning in tonight for our weekly intel report here on Nemico Network. The Russian embassy in Germany has accused Berlin of taking the conflict in Ukraine, quote, to a new level of confrontation. Those are words directly from the Russians there. The decision to approve the delivery of Leopard tanks to Ukraine means quote, the final refusal of the German government to recognize its historical responsibility to Moscow. Some news out of Kyiv. Ukraine's military spokesperson Serhiy Chervyati has said that Ukrainian forces have withdrawn from the eastern town of Soledar in the Donetsk region. The withdrawal of forces has made, quote, was made in quote order to preserve the lives of service personnel in the region. He said. His comments are the first Ukrainian confirmation of Soledar's capture by Russian forces. We have seen a significant uptick in the amount of air raid alerts. Again, if we switch over to our air raid alert map here, you can see right now at this very moment we have quite a few air raid alerts over Ukraine. There was a few times over the past 24 to 48 hours as I'm sitting here watching these alert maps, and I saw the entire country of Ukraine light up like a Christmas tree. It said over the past 24 hours, the Russian Federation carried out 4 missile strikes, 26 airstrikes, as well as more than 100 shellings from multiple rocket launch systems in Ukraine. So quite a bit of activity just over the past 24 hours. In Ukraine, 15 senior officials have left their posts since Saturday, 6 of whom had corruption allegations leveled at them by journalists and Ukraine's anti-corruption authorities. This has been kind of an ongoing issue we've seen over the past week. Again, they're trying to clean up any corrupted officials within the Ukrainian government. This is something that's been happening for years now, really. But seeing these 15 senior officials leave their posts since Saturday is kind of significant. This evening, Joe Biden, the President of the United States, has approved sending 31, only 31. I know he would have liked to see more of these going over, but 31 M1 Abrams tanks to Ukraine. The U.S. had kind of been resisting providing its own M1 Abrams tanks, citing maintenance and logistical challenges with those high-tech vehicles. Again, it takes a large supply chain to maintain those Abrams tanks. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked Biden for the, quote, powerful decision and described it as an important step on the path to victory. Not just are those Abrams going over, but the U.S. is also sending other armored fighting vehicles as well. Germany has confirmed it will make 14 Leopard 2A6 tanks available for Ukraine's war effort. So Germany sending 14 tanks, the U.S. sending 31. The Chancellor Olaf Scholz also said his government plans to send further military support to Ukraine beyond tanks. President Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine welcomed the decision, and he said he was, quote, sincerely grateful of Scholz. With Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the specter of nuclear weapons use, Earth crept its closest, to Armageddon, a science-oriented advocacy group has said, moving its famous doomsday clock up to just 90 seconds before midnight. Moving on to some cyber news from the past week. North Korean hackers turned to credential harvesting in a latest wave of cyber attacks. North Korean nation-state group notorious for crypto heists has been attributed to a new wave of malicious email attacks as part of a, quote, sprawling credential harvesting activity targeting a number of industry verticals, marking a significant shift in its strategy. A cyber attack on Royal Mail could hardly have come at a worse time for Elazar Martin. Martin is one of many business owners left seething 2 weeks after the Royal Mail first emailed customers warning of a cyber incident and encouraging them to temporarily hold any export mail items. Concerns only deepened a day later when it emerged that its computer system had been targeted by prolific hacker group Lockbit, demanding a ransom payment from the company. Businesses are still wondering when they will can resume sending packages abroad through Royal Mail. Has restarted the exports of some parcels. Some other news here. Baltimore schools failed to fully act on cyber security recommendations before a cyber attack occurred. Baltimore County Public Schools failed to act on several state recommendations to help mitigate cyber attacks before attack disrupted school operations and cost the school system millions of dollars in damages and repairs, according to a report from a state inspector general. The BCPS was hacked using a phishing email in November of 2020, a process that disrupted the school system's website and remote learning programs for several days, according to the report from the Maryland Office of Inspector General for Education. Chinese military aircraft and vessels invaded Taiwan's airspace and waters yet again early Wednesday in what has become a nearly daily show of intimidation against the island nation. Taiwan's defense ministry said 4 Chinese military aircraft and 3 Chinese naval vessels were detected around 6 a.m. local time. Taiwan's armed forces are monitoring the situation and tasked CAP aircraft, naval vessels, and land-based missile systems to respond to Chinese activities. In a post here coming from Taipei Times, the U.S. is preparing for Speaker's visit to Taiwan. I know last summer we saw Nancy Pelosi go to Taiwan, and now we're going to be seeing another U.S. House of Representatives Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, to visit Taiwan later this year. Pelosi's 19-hour visit to Taipei marked the first time in 25 years that a sitting U.S. House Speaker visited Taiwan. Beijing ramped up incursions and launched large-scale military drills around Taiwan following Pelosi's visit. Little bit of activity in the Black Sea over the past week or so, but not too much to report in that area. Mostly just movements of some Russian military vessels. Commercial traffic in the Black Sea, pretty much business as usual, as we've seen. Again, from, let me see here, who was that? Rakissan in the Naval Radar channel on the Discord server. Talks about the frigate of the Russian Navy, Admiral Gorshakov, with nuclear warheads on board, is now moving towards the USA. I know we've heard a lot of news about that recently. I would like to say this is somewhat business as usual for the Russians. Past few weeks, we've seen reports of Russian spy vessels in the North Atlantic here near Hawaii. We've also seen, again, the reports of those frigates here, those Russian vessels in the North Pacific here by Hawaii, in the North Atlantic here, again, off the East Coast. Where alarm bells start to ring is when they really start to get close to the U.S. mainland. And I would say something that's even more alarming is just the, just kind of, how should I put this? The amount of persistence that we've seen from Russian spy vessels in the North Pacific, off of the coasts of Hawaii, Alaska, etc. We've seen a lot of that activity over the past few weeks, so that's a little bit more alarming to me than I think even this frigate here. Publication also claims that the Admiral Gorshakov is under the close supervision of the NATO naval forces. Again, the U.S. has their eyes peeled on activity like this. So over the past I would say week or so, we've seen a heightened level of U.S. military aircraft, not just in Europe, but across the globe. I would like to say that's mostly business as usual. However, when we start to see increased levels of those aircraft movements, that's when you start to, you start to wonder, and we kind of have to look into, okay, is something else going on here? We'll be back here next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when we do our weekly live reports, is every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. So make sure to mark your calendars for that. As always, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Nemico Network.
Nemico.